Hello there. I'm just waiting for Zoom to let me know that I'm live. So if you can see me, perhaps you're on a replay, you can probably already see me. I'm just going to check on my phone as well, and Zoom is saying that we are live. So welcome. While I have nobody live on with me, apologies if you're on the replay, I'm just going to quickly share the link to this into the event. And if you are watching live, if you are diligent and here with me right now already, right at the beginning, then say hello. Let me know how your day has gone, any wins that you've had, and we will get right started with today's topic, with today's content, which is all about 10xing your social strategy, and how you can explode across social media, and actually how easy and simple it is once you know what to do. So hello Dave, great to see you here. So bear with me just a moment, I'm just going to share this, and I don't want it to come up as loud when I'm on my phone as well. So bear with me while it's not working while I'm doing it on my phone. Sometimes these things are simple and sometimes they are not simple. So let's make sure that this comes up properly. Yes, it should. I'm really good. Dave asks how I am. I'm really good today. It's been an absolutely hectic day. My son has had horse riding, he's been climbing, he's been to school. I have worked on some webinar slides, the content for the rest of the program for this, and how it all fits together. So I'm awesome. So how are you, Dave? Let me know. Right, okay, so today we're going to talk about the 10x your social strategy, and it kind of like pretty much is what it says on the tin. So 10xing what you're doing, and a lot of people, when they first start using Facebook, especially Facebook for business, treat it like they're still using Facebook for themselves, or almost probably worse is that they're just what's essentially spamming everywhere. I've even had that today. There was a group set up by somebody who wanted to advertise their local meeting that they're having, which is a paid for networking meeting. And when you go there, they sell stuff. And so they created this group within Messenger, Facebook Messenger, and put a link to their event. And then obviously of the 60 people that were in there, and it's just a local thing near where I live, lots of people complained about the fact that it is essentially spam. Because if you got text messages to your phone that said, hey, buy my thing, from somebody that you hadn't asked to see that stuff, then that's what it is, it's spam. But of course, when you're the one doing it and you don't really know any better, then you don't see it that way. But somebody else then advertised their networking meeting, and then I put up a post with lots and lots of like laughing faces saying, while you're all here, I have a a freebie that you can grab on how to attract the right people to you with attraction marketing on Facebook rather than sending out spamming groups. But it's almost a case of like, unless you have definite purpose with when you're going onto Facebook and you know what you're doing, it's really hard to know what to do. So let me know if you've ever experienced that, like if you've ever tried to put stuff out there and had people come back to you and say that that's not something they asked for, or if actually what's probably the case with most people that follow me is that you just don't put those things out there and you don't probably do as much offering as you could do because you don't ever want to come across as spammy. Lots and lots of people I know won't do things like webinars, or don't even really like doing live video or making any posts that talk about what it is that they sell, because they don't want to come across as spammy, or like the used car salesman. There seems to be the same the world round, that used car salesmen have this whole vibe about them where you feel like you're being forced to buy into something, to buy something, rather than having your needs understood and then somebody presenting a solution to you. And it's kind of a different way of looking at things. Now, Facebook's amazing because you can actually use Facebook to find out what it is that your audience wants. So do they want what it is that you're selling? And Facebook's this amazing playground almost of people who, like, lots of different kinds of people, all different niches, people in different stages of life, all different ages, all around the world, and you can actually test what it is that you have against Facebook, against one point, I think it's now 1.7, it's either 1.6, 1.7 billion people that are on Facebook. And so you can test what it is that you have to offer against 1.7 billion prospective customers, which is nuts. Like we've never had this kind of opportunity ever in life before. But of course, you've actually got to start putting things out there for people to find it and actually then be able to raise their hands and say yes. So that's the kind of thing that I want to be talking about in the whole of this training that we're going to do together. Ways that you could position what, who you are, what you have to offer, how it can help people, what the gap is from where they are now to where they want to get to, and how you can be that bridge that will help them get from where they are to where they want to be. But to do that, you have to be comfortable with offering and be comfortable with, okay, well, if you're going to bring more leads into your business, that you're going to be able to sell them, because with all the will in the world, you could have hundreds, thousands of leads, but if you aren't going to sell them, then there's no point. And this is something that seems to happen a lot on Facebook and in other places, is that people think that they need more leads, but they don't. In fact, what they need to do is really work on how do they sell the leads that they have. So you basically can use, as I was saying, you can use Facebook to figure all of this stuff out. So bear with me a moment. I'm just going to bring up my, for some reason, the comments aren't showing right now. So I'm going to have to bring it up again on my phone, just so I can check the comments. So Rosie tells me she hasn't got any sound. I'm guessing that that other people do, and then it's just a sound thing. You might have to, Rosie, just go out and come back in. Sometimes I find that if I pause on Facebook and then unpause, sometimes the sound is annoying. So go out and come back in and see if that helps. And if no one else can hear me, then let me know. I'm just here talking to myself. So what am I going to talk to you about? So 10xing your social strategy. What's that all about? So it's basically about maximizing what you're doing. Now, there are some key foundational points that you need to bear in mind every time you're doing anything on Facebook. And it's almost like you have to do some prep work, and you do, before you start posting. Now, you could just go and start posting, and I can give you some amazing, make it really, really easy for you to come up with content, and you can essentially just share everything, and then you can have lots of content on social media, which is great. But if you haven't, first of all, figured out what you want to do with people, what you want them to do, then again, it's almost like wasting all of that opportunity. So I have some slides that I want to share with you. So bear with me a moment. Let's just get those up. And then, right, here we go. So, what? 10x your social strategy. So the first thing we need to do is be posting with purpose. Now, this is the same if you're also doing things like you're running ads on Facebook. And this is one of the first things that I, when I'm talking to people, when I'm running their ads for them, or whether I'm teaching them to run their ads, the first thing we need to do is to kind of figure out why we are posting in the first place, or why we're running an ad. Now, I learned this from a guy called Rick Mulready, really, really big in the the Facebook ad influence world. Great friends with Amy Porterfield, does ads, and he's the recommended person by her, and James Wedmore, and all of those kind of US-based 7-8 figure influencers. They all love Rick, and he's got an amazing podcast. Now, he taught me that when you go and run an ad, what's the purpose behind why you're running the ad? What do you want someone to do? And I've realized that this doesn't just apply to ads or to marketing. It's pretty much to anything. Anytime that you are putting content out there, the reason you're doing it is to get people to take an action. Now, whether that action is reading, forming a connection with you, getting into your email list, actually buying something from you, signing up to your webinar, there are tons and tons and tons of different things that you might want people to do. There are some quicker ways of getting people to go from the you're a total stranger to I want to buy everything that you sell. There are quicker ways of doing it. And then there are the slow ways as well. Traditionally, most people have used email and warmed people up over time, but email open rates are abysmal compared to how they used to be. And actually, when you have things like being able to go live on video or just produce some video, you can bridge that gap between someone who doesn't know you at all, a total stranger, to somebody who is your true fan, who buys literally everything that you put out there, much faster, because you're sharing yourself with them and they're getting to know you, and therefore when they get to know you, they decide if they like you or not. And when they do like you, if they do like you, and that's okay, because not everybody needs to like you, when they do like you, then they kind of get to that point of liking you and liking all of your products much faster. So first of all, let me know in the comments, what is the reason that you are actually, why are you even on Facebook in the first place? So what is it that your business is trying to do? Are you, you obviously want to get more customers. Everybody wants to get more customers, deep down. But what is it that you want to do? And you probably want to help people. Most people in my audience want to help people. They've got that real deep, inherent drive to serve and to help. But why at the moment are you posting on Facebook? Is it, I say just to get more leads? Is it to warm people up? Is it to make sales? Is it to fulfill on the sales you've already made and actually maybe produce a community or deliver the content like I am here? What is the reason at the moment that you are on Facebook, or historically, what have you been trying to do? And I will pause for a moment to give you some time to answer, because I know that you might not have ever thought about it. You might just be on Facebook because you've seen that everybody else is on Facebook doing Facebook marketing. Or I came across this recently. I was in a mastermind. I used to be in a mastermind, and one of our meetings, pretty much everybody was like, oh, I need a Facebook group. I need a Facebook group. I want to grow my Facebook group. I was like, well, why do you want to grow a Facebook group? And they all said that they'd seen somebody speak on stage who had just done 6 figures in his business, and he had a Facebook group, and he put it all down to his Facebook group. Now, the reality is that that person who'd spoken on stage had a Facebook group of people, and the guy from the stage, he went live in his Facebook group all the time, and he put offers in front of the people all the time, and he then ran events, small events or free events, and then sold people at the events. And he was working, and he still does, from 7 in the morning until God knows what time in the evening, flat out, to the point where when we were trying to arrange he offered me some coaching on something, and the only time he could fit me in was 7 o'clock in the morning, 2 weeks out, because he was so flat out. Now, I don't know about you, but I don't want to be working from 7 till 7. That's not why I signed up to my own business, and I know most people don't either. But was it the Facebook group that got that guy to 6 figures, or was it the fact that he was making sales, offering something all of the time, and in that group he could market to people constantly because it was his group, and he had offered some free valuable stuff, which then meant that people then said, yes, actually, you know what, I'm okay with you offering something for sale to me all the time. Now, what was it? Realistically, you don't ever know. But it wasn't just having the group that magically meant that this guy had a 6-figure business. It was having the group and then offering something for free, and then giving value over time, and then selling. So you can do that with a group or without a group. It doesn't really matter. But think about, what is the reason that you have been on Facebook, and what have you been trying to do? So Dave tells us that he wants to make people like and trust him enough to get in touch. So I'm going with, and correct me if I'm wrong, Dave, that you want people to get in touch with you. Now, are you making it really easy and obvious to people about how to get in touch with you? Are you reaching out to them as well? So it's really nice when people send us messages. I get lots and lots of messages in my inbox, people asking for free help. I had someone yesterday asking for advice on a really cheap camera to get, because I'm on video all the time and they want me on video. And I was like, that's not really my thing. I have my iPhone and I like to buy expensive things, and I don't know, you should just Google. It's really easy to Google. I don't know why people don't Google anymore. But it's great when people come into our inbox, but are you telling people to come into your inbox? Are you offering the opportunity for people to come into your inbox, or offering for them to book a discovery call with you or something? So people tend to have a few different routes. And this is why last week I wanted you to kind of map out what your sales process is already. Everything that I do, builds on each other. And there are always reasons why I get you to do them, not just because it's fun. And sometimes it's not fun, like mapping out your sales process. I know, having done this exercise with different people over time, that most people do not have a structure to how they sell. And that is pretty much the main reason why people don't sell consistently, because most people spend lots of time having a chat and warming people up, but never actually offering anything. Now, so you could, like most of the main routes into the selling process could be someone going on your email list, somebody registering for your webinar, somebody signing up to do a discovery call with you. Now, if it was booking in to make a discovery call, then are you saying, do you have that like a really simple process of like send me a PM, or do you just send them to a landing page? Now, remember, people are lazy, really lazy. So oftentimes they might not take the action, or they get distracted. Life happens, gets in the way. So you want to have a way that you can actually follow up with all those people. Now, one of the simple ways of doing this on Facebook is to do, and I'm sure you've seen these posts of, if you want to book a free one-to-one call with me, then comment below. And then you are the one that follows up with the people, because attraction marketing is great, but most of the time people get distracted. So if you can find a way to literally see if someone's raised their hand at all, and then you can take the initiative, that is so much more powerful, especially when you're doing it with like a few people. If you're trying to reach millions of people and you've already got a 7-figure business, then you probably do not want to be following up with people one-on-one. But unless you already are at that state, then I would suggest that you can be doing that. You can be following up. So to making sure that you are keeping a track of all of the things that are coming in. If you have a 7-figure business or even a 6-figure business, could be getting somebody else to do all the following up for you. And then you have the calls, but you've got somebody else making sure that you're chasing all of those things and capturing all of it. So Dave says that he thinks you're making it fairly easy, you think, but you're not reaching the right people enough. Absolutely. Okay, so, and this is like where we get to posting with purpose. So who is the person you're trying to reach? Are you really, really clear on who that person is? Because if there are 1.7 billion people, and there are on Facebook, then the who is absolutely out there. But until you're more specific with who that who is, then you're not going to be saying the right things. You're not going to be giving them the right colors, the images, or even knowing where they already are. So you need to be really, really, really clear on who that person is. And harking back to what I was talking about with Facebook ads, you want to know who the person is. So with Facebook ads, you can start using interests but like lots of things like that to get really, really detailed. When it comes to your organic content, you can go and do some research using the tools that Facebook give you for Facebook ads, and using the insights tool to go and figure out like what kinds of interests people have. So when it comes to figuring out who your who is, and I've got a really detailed sheet that can go through lots and lots of questions if you haven't already done this. And even if you have, I find often that your who changes over time. So as you're going through your business, you might get more clarity. They do say, James Wedmore says, that action brings clarity. So if you start off murky at the beginning and you're not entirely sure who it is you're trying to target, whether you're trying to target a specific niche, then go and do some stuff. Find out who you like working with, and then adapt it over time. When you're really, really clear on who the who is, then you can go and find out where they are. But also you can start writing in the way, or speaking in the way, whatever, in a way that attracts that who. So who is it you're trying to target? And then when you know the who is, then you're going to know what their problems are. Because you can, again, use Facebook to go and find out what their problems are. Now, there are almost like 2 different levels of problems with people. And that sounds really horrible. But what I mean is there are the surface level problems. Like people say, I need to grow my Facebook audience. But then deeper than that, if you actually look at posts on Facebook, in groups, on people's news feeds, like wherever people are posting, they will say their problem. But if you look, kind of read between the lines and look a bit deeper, it's not just they want to grow their audience on Facebook. It's they don't have enough leads. They're not reaching enough people. They're not making enough sales. Okay, we're still kind of surface level. Okay, well, if they're not making enough sales, then maybe they're struggling to support their family. I read a post recently from a lady who does very well in a group of Some people are doing really amazingly well. And there's somebody I know who has an over $1 million a year business, and she said that they still feel the fear of everything just disappearing overnight, even though they've got $1 million business. And so the original question was like, when do you get to that point of feeling secure in your business if you're running your own business? And the $1 million business owner said, I'm not there yet. So if we looked at just somebody wants to grow their Facebook audience, deeper than that, they want the security of looking after their family. Now, if you're really clear on who your who is, you know those kinds of problems. You know the surface level problems, and then you know the deeper problems. And so when you know those things, you can then craft all of your messaging to address those problems. And I don't want you to overthink this. So literally just start writing down, like, who is it that you really want to serve? Like, who do you get amazing joy when you work with them? And then also that they like, I've said this kind of, there's almost like a quadrant of it. So who do you love to work with? Who loves to work with you that you can actually get a result for and is willing to pay for you to solve their problem? I've said this like in the past in other programs, so it depends on like how long you've been with me, but if you're really clear on that, then every time you're sat there and you think, I need to make a post, or I want to make this offer, you will be inside the head of the person who is your ideal client, and it won't feel hard. It's going to be easy. But if you try and be everything to everyone, as they say, you will be nothing to no one. You need to be really, really clear. Now, there's some deeper levels to this, and we're going to do a deeper training on your dream customer and how to actually go and find out all of the problems they have and like everything to do with them. But essentially, when you can start talking to somebody's problems, but talk about the symptoms that they're having, because they might not know what their problem is. They might not know that they need a bigger Facebook audience when they're like lacking in needs. They might not know that, but their symptoms are that they don't have enough leads or they're not making enough sales. So, but when you can start to address the symptoms that they're having, you can then reach your people and they'll come in more easily. But you can also use Facebook to go and find out what those things are by going into groups and looking at posts, but it just takes a little bit of looking around. You can also just start by taking some action. You can start posting some stuff. You're already posting things. Who are the people that are already attracted to the content that you're already putting out there? What kinds of things are they saying? If you're like me, I use this question wherever I possibly can. So on my Facebook group, when people join my programs, whatever, I ask what's the number one biggest struggle somebody has with, and for me, obviously with my niche, it's using Facebook for business. And so it's a kind of like a broadish question so that people can answer in their own way. I've had over 150 responses now to that question. And so I can look at it and things range from, I don't know what to say, I don't have any time, I don't know where to start. I don't know where to start is a big thing, but people are on Facebook doing stuff, so they do know where to start. It's just in their head that they feel like they don't know where to start. But you can use Facebook to really kind of get a grip on who your people are and how you are going to get to them, for them to then go, yes, you are the person for me. So you need to know who. You need to then figure out what it is that you are trying to sell to them, what it is that you want them to do, what's the transformation that you can help them make. So and this is again another reason I wanted you to go through your sales process, because then you'll have this in your mind. So when you have a customer at the moment, what result are you getting for them? Like, what is it that you're doing? You're taking them from A, like they are right now somewhere, and then you're getting them to point B. So if you think of it like Dorothy and the yellow brick road, at the beginning, you're Dorothy, your ideal customer. Like, where is she? What is she doing? Or he. So like, where are they at the beginning? And then where is their, like, what is their Oz? If you could describe the Oz of your customer, what would it look like? What would it be? Where would they be? Like, everything you can possibly think of. So your homework for today is to map out the yellow brick road for your Dorothy. So you're going to figure out who your Dorothy is, and you are going to go, okay, here they are at the beginning, here's the yellow brick road, and where they are at the end. Now, sometimes this is sometimes, almost all the time, this is easier if you go, this is where they are right now, And generally where they are right now tends to be where you have been in the past. So it makes it a little bit easier for you. So this is where they are right now. This is what they're doing, how they're thinking, how they're feeling, what actions they might have already taken. And then what's their Oz? Where do they want to get to? What is the thing that they're aiming towards? And so you have where they are now, you have where they're going to get to. And then what you can do is you can map out their journey along the way. And so therefore how you can help them, like what it is that you do that helps them get from point A to point B, from where they start to their Oz. So what's that transformation? If you know where you are going to take them, how you're going to take them, even if it's not like totally clear, if you've got a rough idea of this is what I do for people, if you've already got a business, which most people do, or you've worked with the customers that you want, which most people do. I know Craig's starting over again, but even so, you can still do this exercise when you're watching the replay. So you've got the starting point and you've got the Oz, and then in the middle is the transformation. Like that's where somebody's going from somewhere to somewhere, the transformation that they're going on, and that's the result that you are going to get for people. And so that's the thing that you can be talking about with people is how, and you don't have to go into lots and lots of detail of the how, because the how is what you're selling. But you can talk about going from point A to point B. You can give like a rough, like this is what we'll do. This is how we do it. You don't have to go into the nitty gritty, because the nitty gritty is what you're selling. But you can kind of talk about these things with people. And then when people are reading or watching or listening to your content, when you start talking about the transformation you take them on, and you don't have to talk about the transformation. You can just talk about so-and-so was here. Like if you've got past customers and you can talk about testimonials without them being testimonials, tell stories. So you say that so-and-so was at this point, and then you did this work with them. They did X, Y, and Z, and then they got to here. And so those kinds of things are the kinds of pieces of content that are really going to pull people into you and make them raise their hands and go, yes, this is for me. This is what I want to do. And then clearly Dave or Morgan or whoever else is on live with me, then they are the person to take me, because that's the journey that I want to go on. That they must be the person that will get me there. So posting with purpose, we need our who, we need to know what we want them to do. So at the moment, Morgan's saying trying to get them onto a mailing list. So you need a really, really good lead magnet, and you need to have things set up so that people are finding your lead magnet. And we'll go into that a bit deeper in the next week's session of like exactly how. But I've got some templates and things that you can use, so you can literally just plug in your own words if you wanted to get people coming onto your email list. But you can be posting all of the time, and every single time you post, you can be like offering something. It doesn't have to be something paid, and ideally it's not something paid, but if you can be finding ways of getting people to, you put content out there and then they kind of give something back, whether it's giving you a like, whether it's commenting, whether it's starting a conversation, whether it's going then from Facebook into your messenger, into a call with you, anything that can get people from where they are right now to being more interactive with you. That will then start the kind of the process of literally going from, it could be a cold person all the way to buying from you. So who is the person? What you want them to do? If you know their transformation, then that's going to be a lot easier for you. And then the last bit of posting with purpose is where you're posting. So most people tend to think that they need to just be posting on their profile, which is great, because when you post on your profile, you may have noticed that you get more interaction than when you post on your page. Let me know in the comments, actually, if you've got a page. Like, hopefully most of you do. Some people have lots of pages for different business things. You will find that more people will see your personal profile posts than your page posts, which the algorithm, of course, and Facebook does want you to spend some money on marketing. But you should see that as an opportunity, because if not everybody is going to do the page posting, then when you do, or when you then start to leverage page posting and other things like posting in your own group and things like that, then actually you can like reach more and get more with things like Facebook advertising. Now, I'm not going to specifically talk about Facebook advertising yet. Towards the end of the course, I am going to, but don't think you have to do that. So what you can do is you can be posting on your, and this is what I tend to do, posting on your profile to test things out, to see how they go. to see, like, okay, the place where you're going to get maximum engagement because more people see it at the time, at this present time, if you had a page with 1 million fans versus your profile that maxes out at 5,000 people, then even if you just did your one post on with your 1 million fans, it's going to reach more people because you've got 1 million fans. So there is still a restriction on using your personal profile, which is why I don't think people should ever rely on their personal profile. Plus, also, technically, Facebook want you to be doing your business on your business page. So if you can get people from your profile to your business page, then Facebook will love you even more and actually help you reach more people. And then you stay within terms of service and you don't risk getting banned from Facebook. But you guys aren't going to be doing that. So you can be posting on your profile, you can be posting on your page, you can also be posting in groups, and you don't just have to be posting, you could also be answering questions and doing like other things, like helping people out. The whole thing is just helping people out, so that when people look at your content, they then want to start a more of a relationship with you, and then they'll start to deep dive on you. So I'll move on to my next little bit, which talks about leveraging. So if you're just answering questions in your inbox all of the time, then the only person that's seeing that and getting any benefit is the person who you are replying to. If you take a question that comes into your inbox and you start using it as a public post, you start using it as, okay, this person's got that question, which means other people are going to have the question. So you then start talking about it in groups. You give the detailed answer that you are going to write for that one person. You actually give it in a group or on your Facebook page or on your podcast or in your email or anywhere that you can create content. Then what you're doing is taking a known quantity. Somebody wants to know that answer, which means that lots of people want to know that answer. It's really, really interesting, some of the coaching calls that I've been on over the last few months. So I've been involved in a couple of kind of, I don't know how to explain them, like transformation programs. And a lot of it is coaching and live hot seats. And at the beginning, you start off with thinking, well, if I'm not the person on the hot seat, then how can I get benefit if, it's not my question that's being answered? And there were lots of people like in the chat kind of talking about that. But once the person who was in the hot seat asked their question and the answers and the kind of digging deeper and more came out, what you realized is that the person who's in the hot seat has a question that you had, or that you didn't even know you had, but you do have. And so you can be like absolutely assured that if one person has that question, other people want to know the answer. And so if you can start answering questions before people even know to think of the question, what you'll find is that people will say, I didn't even realize I had that question. It's like you're in my mind. And I've had this over and over and over and over again, especially in Facebook groups. This is really easy to do in Facebook groups. So you can go in, you can start answering questions, knowing full well that other people will have had that question. Lots of people will not want to actually be the extrovert and post on Facebook. So they might have that question and be too scared to ask. Depending on your niche, sometimes most people, like lots of it, people don't want to ask. But if you can just be giving that information and sharing and helping and giving value, then your audience who is looking and like reading your content, and they may have just like happened upon you, and especially in a Facebook group, they are going to get value, and then they are going to kind of come deeper into your world. So you can be leveraging the fact that you can get to pretty much anyone, in theory, on Facebook. When you're doing public posts from your page, you can also then, if something hits off, you can then put a tiny bit of money behind it and make it into an ad. But you don't have to do that. You don't have to create ads. It's not like the dark old days when you had a newspaper and you had no idea if your ad would work or not. You can create posts. When they work, you can then make them reach more people by putting a little bit of money behind, rather than wasting money potentially on an ad that you don't even know works. So Facebook gives you this opportunity to leverage in a massive way. And when you think about trying to reach all the people, and when I say that, I don't mean literally all 1.7 billion people. I do mean the people that are in your niche. But no matter how small your niche is, there are hundreds and thousands of those people on Facebook. And realistically, I'd love you to answer me this question in in the comments is like, how many people do you really, really need to be making, to be buying from you for you to achieve your goals? Is it hundreds? Is it thousands? Is it really tens of thousands of people? Do you really need, and I don't mean need as in you have your goals, whatever they are, you could 10x them. And it's still probably not tens of thousands of people who are going to be buying from you for you to reach those goals. It's probably a few thousand for you to be reaching the goals that you're at, unless you're selling tiny, like low priced things, and then you might need tens of thousands. But the majority of people that I work with tend to have a higher level offering. Because they do say that if you're, and I think it was Dan Kennedy who said this, that there is no strategic advantage in being the second lowest price in town. That if you're not the lowest cost person, being the second lowest cost is not going to get you anywhere. Obviously, if you're the lowest cost, then all the people that want the lowest cost are going to go with you. Those people aren't going to go with the second lowest cost, so then you might as well be expensive. So on the proviso that you have something to offer that isn't 10p or 10 cents, then you're probably looking at thousands of customers rather than tens of thousands of customers, or even hundreds of thousands of customers, or even millions of customers, which if you've got 1.7 billion people, then your tiny niche will be fulfilled on Facebook, potentially in the range of tens of thousands. So Morgan says that what you are saying really resonates with me. On Facebook, loads of engagements, but no more leads. And you just realize why, because you've never offered them to join your mailing list. Absolutely. You have to ask people. And so if you haven't already gone through like the sales process call that I did last week, and especially the worksheet that I gave, go through that, because until you realize how you're getting people into your world, you might not realize that you're not getting them into your world, and you have to get them into your world. You can't expect them to just magically appear. You need to offer them the chance to get in there, and then give them a reason to come and join. So even if you're giving them something for free, even if you are getting them onto your email list, which doesn't cost them anything, you have to give them a reason to do it. So whether it's some training that you did, if you did a live video, then maybe you can make that available on your email, to your email list, and then say, you can get this training when you opt into my email list. I do Facebook and Instagram stories that say, oh, I'm doing this training. If you want to see it, then on Instagram and Facebook now, you can do buttons where you say, if you you can ask anything you want, and I say, if you want access to this free training, drop your email below, and people will send their email. Not like hundreds of millions, but it would be if I was running ads to them. But I just do it every now and again, just to to see different ways of getting people into my email list. So you can use stories to get people in. Even doing a VIP launch list, people want to be at the cutting edge of something. So just offer people something, but just say, if you want to get in on my, and you can say, here is my lead magnet. You can also say, like, comment if you want me to send this to you, and then when somebody comments, you then send them a message and say, hey, what's the best email address to send it to you? And then you've got their email address. And as long as you make it clear that it's a marketing thing, then there are no, you're marketing to them, of course, and people do know that. So yes, make sure you're getting people into your email list by offering them ways to do it. I try and mix up different ways of getting people into my world. So sometimes I might on a post talk about my email list or a lead magnet. So it might be just a standard lead magnet page. Here's like a free thing, give me your email address, right, and then I'll send it to you. It might be if you want this free thing, then come on my messenger bot, like go into my messenger list. Just so it's not the same thing over and over and over again. So I've got like my messenger list, which I use ManyChat for. I've actually just set up a new service on my ManyChat today, which I think I finally figured out. I want to be able to remind people to post on Facebook with their specific niche keywords, and we'll talk about this later in the training. So one of the things I did is I did a post on I need some people to test this for me, because I actually do need people to test it for me, and so people will offer to put themselves onto my messenger list to test out something that reminds them to post on Facebook with their specific niche keywords, and I can expand that over time to be into specific groups, and it'll give them like the link to click into the group that they want to post in and stuff like that. So most of the reason people don't post on Facebook very much is because they just forget, or their life gets in the way, or they feel like they haven't got the content to do it. And so if I can try and shortcut that by reminding people, and the first message in the sequence is, would you like your reminder today? And people can choose to say yes, no, or they can unsubscribe. So I'm not just blasting them, I'm getting them to engage. I'm almost reminding them of this service that they've signed up for, and then they can choose whether they have it or not, rather than just sending it to them. But it's just another way of getting people onto your list, and open rates on Messenger are much higher than they are on email, but you can still get away with spamming people on your email if you really wanted to. You can't do that on ManyChat. So I've got a training that I did on how to get, I can't remember what it's called now, so that you can send subscription messages on ManyChat. But if you are a standard person on there, you can only market to people within 24 hours of when they've opted in or they've interacted with you. So you can't just spam people. But what that does is it means that when I'm getting people onto my Messenger list, because the barrier to entry for me as a provider is higher than an email list, less people are doing it. So I'm still getting really great open rates and interaction rates versus all the people that just didn't bother and so don't have that offering. So you want to get into the mindset of when something is a bit trickier to go and do it, because most business owners, most people in life won't do the hard stuff. So if you can do the hard stuff, then you put yourself at an advantage to them. So yes, absolutely, get people into your different things. So whether they're on your email list, whether on your Messenger list. So and Morgan's just asked, I don't know if it's just now or before, Messenger lists are basically attached to Facebook pages. So your Facebook page can have what's essentially the same as an email list, but through Messenger, which means that you can send messages to people from your Facebook page, and you can start to send out autoresponders. And so I've got one that if I'm going to go do a live, it sends a message out to people to say, hey Sam, I'm going live right now, or I'm already live, or I'm going live at 2 o'clock talking about this, and then it gives them a link to come and join. So just another way of getting in contact with people in their Messenger inbox. So hopefully that makes sense. Okay, but I am going to talk a bit more about Messenger and how to use it later on down the road. Okay, so we've talked about posting with purpose and knowing why we're posting on Facebook, why we're on there in the first place. And then we have been talking about leveraging what we're actually doing. So public posting, getting people to find you. Like, that's the hardest thing for most people, is how do people come across me in the first place? So if you have gone through the what's your sales process map, and then you do the homework today of working out what the yellow brick road is for your Dorothy, you can say, okay, well, I know who my people are and I know what I want them to do, come into my email list or whatever it is, and make sure you comment in the comments around the video where what you want people to be doing, because then I can tailor the training to give you like ideas for each different thing, because I've tried as like far as possible to give lots of different examples for different niches and for different avenues, but until I know what you do, and that's the benefit of being on the beta, is that until I know what you do, I can't necessarily, like, off the top of my head, know exactly what it is you're going to do. So you need to tell me what you do, and like where you want people to go, so I can then tailor the training to you and to your, like, how to get people into. So for Morgan, getting people onto their email list. So yes, so people have found you, and then once they've come across your content, they are then going to start going through the rest of your content, because this is what people do. Like, this because you find yourself 30 minutes later on Facebook down a rabbit hole, not knowing how you got there, or on YouTube and you've been watching videos for like 20 minutes and you don't know like how you got there. People tend to just go from one thing to the next thing to the next thing. If you can funnel people to go the way you want them to go through your content, so they're not going off all over the place to different people, but they're sticking with you and they're going through your content, and then they're getting into your email list, and then they're looking around your your website if you've got one, or whatever it is you've got, whatever assets you already have. You want people to be able to do their 30-minute rabbit hole just on you and your content. because they're going to do the 30-minute rabbit hole anyway. You'd rather that they were doing it in your content and in your world, and so you can start building that relationship with them, even though you aren't there personally on the phone with them or personally in your messenger, that they are building a relationship with the content that you already have. And that's one of the amazing things about Facebook, is that it becomes almost this this like resource, this database, this, I don't know, reservoir of all of your content, so people can go deep dive. And I still find it now, people have gone back through like a very long time and commented on videos, and you can see the and I'll put up some examples for you, like the trail of people when they go through pictures and then videos, and they comment or they like things, and then I then see them joining my email list or my messenger chat list, and you can almost see this kind of trail that people have taken from just finding you in a group from where you've been commenting and giving help. So we know people are going to be doing the stalking anyway, so let's have them stalk through us. And then finally, making sure that you are hooking them in. So Morgan, with the email list, making sure you are offering something for people to come onto your list, making the offer, reminding people they can come on your list, telling them, asking them, whatever. Just get people onto the list, but you have to tell them first of all, rather than just hope that they stumble upon it. And if you've got a really great hook, something really enticing, then it will be easier. And the great thing about Facebook is, of course, people are on there all the time talking about all of their problems. So you can find out what that thing is that's going to bring them in, and you can test things for free in groups, on your profile, on your page. You can test things, and when something hits, that's when you turn it into an ad. And then you know that when you start putting money behind it, people are going to want whatever the freebie is, whatever the hook is in, whether it's signing up to your webinar, whatever it is, people are going to pay and like want it, and they're giving great feedback, so that when you're spending money on running ads, that people are going to opt in, but also that it's going to be valuable to them, and then they're going to like really come into your world. Once somebody's given you their email address or something a little bit more than just commenting on a post, then you've got the opportunity to actually like build a relationship with them. So definitely using Facebook to find out all that information, both to find it out, to do research, but also then to test, which I'll talk about in the next bit, test on like all the different things that you could do. So you could try a load of different hooks and like freebies and new methods and all those kinds of things. But we'll go through that in the training coming up. So we know where we're posting, and we're going to leverage as much as possible because it's Facebook and we can. And then we need to make sure that we are producing killer content. So lots and lots of people post all the time and get nothing for it. Even people with millions of fans or tens of thousands of fans or hundreds of thousands of fans and multi-7-figure businesses, if you look at most of their content on Facebook, it gets no engagement at all. And I'm talking about people like James Wedmore. He might, his team, because it's not him, might post a snippet from one of their podcasts as a Facebook post, and they might get a couple of likes or a comment or two, hardly any. And that is because it's kind of stock content. It's not anything that's interesting or personable or different or like arresting or like that's going to stop people in their tracks. It's just the same. And I know why they're doing it, and it's easy for them to put it out there, and so therefore it doesn't take much of their time, and they can do it en masse, and it might bring some people in. And you could run ads to that little video, and then people will go and find James in his podcast. And James very much talks about the fact that his podcast, and this is James Wedmore, his podcast is his main way of getting people into his world. Podcasts are brilliant because it's just you listening to your phone. You don't tend to be really doing anything else. It's not like when you're on Facebook, you guys are watching right now, but you might be distracted by Facebook notifications or something else, or I might be on your laptop or on your phone, and then you want to be doing something on the other thing. And so when you're on Facebook, people do get distracted. When people are on podcasts, they tend to not be distracted. They're driving or they're at the gym, so you've got them in your head. So James's big way of getting people into his world is his podcast, and the other way is Facebook ads. But it tends to be Facebook ads to a lead magnet or something like that. So I think that with a lot of the bigger people, we see them doing it, and therefore we feel like we should do it, is that they're pumping out a lot of content that is almost like filler content. There's not somebody at the other end of their social media account sat there telling their story and then actually in the comments responding. But while you can be in the comments responding, if you respond to people, if they make a comment and you respond and you ask them another question, you can build up a relationship with people in a way that someone who's really huge and doesn't have a team, who literally can just sit there on Facebook all day long, you can build a relationship in a way that other people can't. And you also then get to know your audience much better. So you find out like really what their problems are, what their symptoms are, and all that kind of thing. So if you're producing interesting content, there is personal content. So lots of people feel like, because again we see it, all the other people doing, all the big marketing agencies do it, of pictures with like stock photo images and a nice caption, which is lovely, but it's not going to get somebody to stop and read a personal story and then relate to it and then comment about it. Whereas if you share your personal stories, and I don't necessarily mean personal like home-based stories, I mean just stories that are really happening to you as a person, then your audience is going to get to know you, they're going to relate to you, and they're going to have had a similar experience and they're going to want to talk about it. And so it's really easy to come up with content because you can just share what's going on in your life. And I refer to this as a business lifestyle. You share your business, you share your life, you know, the hashtag entrepreneur life, having coffee somewhere, meeting people, going to events, what you learned, listening to a podcast, like anything, even like what you did at the weekend with your family because your family is so precious to you. The fact that you only work these hours because you want to be, I mean, I pick up my son from school, so I will not work at certain times because I will pick him up. So be sharing all of those things. Today I wrote some slides while my son was climbing today. You know, all of that kind of things I could be sharing, and my ideal audience will look at that and say, oh, I'm doing the same things. I've done those things. I want to do those things. I'm doing the same things, whatever it is, wherever they are. And so you can be coming up with content that's literally just talking about the stories of your life. And you just have to become a really, really good storyteller. Then you also can be using Facebook to test all the time. I've talked about this already, and giving people what they want. So you have your ideal audience and you have this amazing opportunity because of Facebook that you can ask them what it is that they want, and then you can give it to them. In the past, and even now with big companies, they have to spend tens of thousands of dollars and pounds to produce focus groups to ask people what they want. And then most of the time people don't really know what they want anyway. So they have these focus groups that they've paid for, and then they have to try and figure out whether their product that they've already made and spent millions on actually solves that problem. You don't have to do that. You have Facebook, you can go into groups. You probably know this already, but if you don't, you can go and do searches to find groups about interests, or the groups run by the big influencers, all those kinds of things. So we're going to go into that in more detail in the training coming up, but you can go into groups and you can do it in your own profile, or, you know, start on your profile. You know people. You have friends outside of business. People will know things. People will know other people who can help you. So you can say, you can ask questions of like, what kind of problems people have. I wouldn't go, what problems do you have? Because nobody wants to answer that. But you can ask questions in a way, and I'll get into how you can do this in the training coming up, but you can ask questions in a way that people will then tell you what problems they're having. And then you can, in your head, go, well, can I solve that problem or not? Yes, I can. Or here's how I can solve that problem. And not only do you have almost like beta testers ready because someone's told you that they've got a problem and you were like, oh, I've got the solution for you. But you can also then use the words that they use in describing their problem in your marketing, in your selling, in all of this stuff. So like the possibilities with Facebook are endless. And so to wrap up, when it comes to actually producing content, don't just produce content for the sake of it, and don't just do what everybody else is doing. Try and weave in your personal life and your story and all of the things that are happening with you and your business. And even when you're producing if you were producing a new course, you could be talking about even the process of producing a course. Most people have no idea how to build a course. Start with the person at the beginning, start with the person at the end, map out the steps that they need to take to get from point A to point B. Okay, there's your course outline. And then and so you can talk about that as some content on your social media, so that you're doing two things. Like, you're helping people because you're teaching them how to build a course. You're then creating interest in what is the course about. So then you're going to have people going, oh, this is interesting, I'd like to know about that. And you're just seeding it out there that there is a course coming up, so people aren't shocked when you suddenly produce something. So you can be doing all of these things to produce really good content that will attract the right person for you. But until you know who the right person is and what you want them to do and how you're going to help them, then none of it matters. And I know everybody just wants the easy pill, the magic pill that will go, well, here's all your content for you, and you're magically, like, leads and sales are going to rain from the sky. But until you've taken the time to figure out what it is you want people to do in your business, how you are going to sell to them, or whether you could even use Facebook to speed up the sales process, to eliminate part of the sales process. If you're spending 3 months sending people warm-up emails, why not get rid of those? Turn all of those emails, you could turn them into content posts on Facebook. You could do a video about them. You could do a video series. You could do live videos. You can make it so much, like, faster and easier for someone to kind of deep dive through all of that content, rather than the months and weeks of an email series. And then, so you could get rid of all of that, and then literally somebody could find you, they could deep dive on you, you could do a webinar, and then they could buy from you. It could be as simple as that. But it depends on what your business is. And as I say, until you tell me what they are, then I don't know whether you are just, whether you're a course creator or what have you. So yes, Morgan says that's how you found me. You did indeed. And Dave tells me you've never been good at telling stories. That is okay. The other amazing thing about Facebook, especially when you've got a smaller audience and you're at the beginning, and I'll post the clip in this group, and hopefully I'm allowed to. So there is a guy called Garrett White, who, if you're in the ClickFunnels world, ClickFunnels is some marketing software, sales funnel software. There's a guy called Garrett White who's very abrupt. And I saw a clip of him saying that at the beginning, you're going to suck, like really suck. And then you're going to try again. And this applies to anything. And you're going to try again, and you're going to practice, and you're going to suck a bit less. And then you'll practice some more. And then you'll keep going until you suck so little that you might actually be good. The benefit of being on Facebook and doing this on Facebook, and actually being at the beginning and not having a massive audience or not so many people watching your lives, is that when you suck, which you will, and it's okay, when you suck, even if you suck at storytelling, when you suck, there aren't that many people that are going to see it. As you practice and you get better, more people will see it, but you're getting better, so it's okay. So embrace the fact that you suck, knowing that the only way is better, the only way is up, and that storytelling just comes with time. You can start, and I'm going to teach you to do this, you can start to weave in stories of things that happen to you, stories of your students and your customers, which is amazing, and the wins that they had, as they relate to the teaching points that you're trying to make. And then you're doing two things: showing people that it is possible, that it's possible for somebody other than just you, because you might be the unicorn, but also that they can do it too, and proof. So trying to get better at storytelling is probably one of the best things that you can do, and actually trying to put stories of your customers, of your clients, of your students, whatever you have. Like, even if you're in the beginning, you've probably worked with somebody, you need a testimonial. You're gonna need somebody, even if you've done nothing, completely new, brand new, whatever. You obviously need your own story of how you've achieved the thing that they want to get, but then you need the story of working with somebody else, or like a story of how somebody has achieved that thing. Because if you can't talk about how someone has done it, then the person on the other end is never going to believe that they can do it. But you can totally bring these stories in from different areas. They don't always have to be your stories. You can use other stories, as long as you make that clear. But getting better with storytelling is something that we're going to do. I'll post it in the group, Dave, because it's quite funny. because it might not be a publicly available clip because it's from one of the marketing conferences. So I'll see if I can grab it and put it in here. But anyway, okay, so to wrap up, this week's homework, we are going to work on our yellow brick road for our Dorothy. So you need to know who your Dorothy is. So hopefully by now you have done your sales process map. You've mapped out how you're selling people and where you want to get them in. And then you're going to take your Dorothy. You're going to figure her out if you don't know her or him. And then you're going to do that your yellow brick road and where you want to take them from and to. And then and as we do this, and as you do this over the next few days, when it comes to our coaching call on Thursday, if you're free to, if you can come and join, obviously, like the more you can come and be in it, then the more I can help you, because we can be on screen and we can talk. But when we come on Thursday, then you can say like where you are. And what we can do is when we look at your yellow brick road and your sales process together, we can see where we can weave Facebook into this. So whether it is just people on the front end, it's probably the front for you, isn't it? So people on the front end, or whether actually Facebook, we can use Facebook to almost kind of take over some of the marketing that you're doing, because you do not need to be doing everything yourself. And I don't mean getting somebody else to do it for you necessarily. I mean, Facebook can be like do the brunt work for you. It can be the heavy lifter, and you just kind of tweak things here and there, and then Facebook does the kind of the proliferation of your content and things. So we will talk about how you can create a piece of content and then take it into loads of different things, the different tools you can use, but also like lots of different ways of doing things. But the thing to bear in mind is that like all the people are on Facebook. And if you know who it is you're going after, then you can find copies, multiples of that person all over Facebook. And if you say the right things to them, which you can use Facebook to figure out what the right things are, then they are going to come to you in their droves. You just have to be more purposeful in what it is that you're trying to get people to do. So this is a time to work on your business rather than just be in your business every day. You work on your business, you figure out what it is you want people to do, how you're going to get them to do it. And then knowing that, that's always going to be in your mind. So every time you now, without even realizing now, every time you start posting, this is going to be in your subconscious. And so you're naturally going to put those things out there to try and get people into your world in a way that you weren't before. So hopefully that's made a bit more sense to you guys. Dave says he's excited to do his homework. Good. I'll post another worksheet. It sometimes takes a little while for this to render, so I can post everything up there. But it will definitely be up there in the next few hours. And in the meantime, if you want to get started right now, what you need to do is literally I just do 3 columns, maybe 4 columns on a spreadsheet or on a piece of paper or whatever you've got, a whiteboard, and say, who is your Dorothy? Describe your Dorothy. Where is Dorothy now at the beginning of her journey? His journey. When I say her, I literally just mean like the character. So where are they at the beginning of their journey? Where's their Oz? What is their Oz? Where do they want to get to? Okay, and then how are you going to get them there? How are you the person? Like, why are you the person to get them to where they want to be? So brilliant. Thanks very much for today, and I shall see you guys. I will see you guys tomorrow. Thank you very much.